Okay, we are now here upstairs with Todd Carty, who plays the coconut banging Patsy. Hello, darling.
Hello, my love. How are you?
I'm all right. You've been doing this for a hell of a long time.
I've been doing it since 2010. I took a 2.5-year break, almost 3 years, and they asked me to come back. Basically, I clippity-clopped and jumped at the chance because it's such fun.
Is that why you keep coming back to reprise your role?
Well, if they keep asking you, I think I needed the break from it, and it's a brand new cast as well here in Manchester and for the rest of the tour, and it's gone down really well, like it always does here at the Opera House. And it's just, you've seen it yourself, it's silly, it's daft. If you're feeling a bit down, it should be on prescription, I think, really, because it really went, like for instance this afternoon, Saturday's matinee performance, they were jumping over the aisles singing Bright Side of Life. You know what I mean? It's a great show, and it's a bit like being in therapy, but they're paying you and you're not paying them.
I was going to say, it must be brilliant to be able to get paid for banging your nuts together.
Well, I tell you what, who would have thought all those years at drama school, eh?
I know, it's amazing. It's like, wow. And that. Do you find a lot of kids come to these performances?
It's mixed, it's mixed. I mean, obviously you're going to get the core, like this afternoon. You'll get the core Python fans, because you know they'll laugh at the iconic Pythoness jokes. We know that the Python are in. A lot of Python fellas bring their wives or girlfriends along to see it for the first time. And I could hear kids tittering in the front row, and I just had someone who looked after me when I was in Blackpool three years ago, who's a grandma, and she's in her 80s. So it really is across the board.
Brilliant. And do you feel that now all the kids are now getting into it, it's now bringing a whole new generation, so do you find that you have to change the show for that kind of thing?
No, not necessarily. I mean the director, Christopher Luscombe, says trust in the words. And it's very good advice, because these has been written by Eric Idle. You can't really change it in any way. The only time you can change it or ad-lib is the King Arthur and the Knights of Ni. You know, when they do Eki Eki Fatang, Biscuit Barrel, Ole, and that's where they can do their own little routine, really. But apart from that, it's got to be bang on, absolute bang on.
You can't always be bang on. It's Python. It wouldn't be Python if it wasn't bang on, was it?
Well, Mr. Idle himself said, be bang on. If things go wrong, like last night, the wooden rabbit fell over. It fell right on its face. I don't think there was a stage weight on it or something like that. Anyway, these things happen. But the audience do love it when things do go wrong. They love it even more. And on the opening press night, King Arthur, the Black Knight's arm fell off before he even struck it, and they went bonkers for it. I was trying, to keep my face straight, and I think things like that do help, actually.
It does, because I feel that it settles you down a little bit, because we were here on the press night and we saw it, and Joe's ad-lib was just brilliant. See, I am quick, and it was like, oh, you're just brilliant, Joe. Yeah,
that's what it does. It just relaxes everyone then, because obviously press night, people are going to be excited, so, but it went down very well, and all in all, people are flipping well loving it.
When you're touring around and everything and that, when you know you're going to be on such a big tour like this, how do you prepare for it mentally and physically? Because it's got to be grueling stuff. Yeah,
I mean, the 2 show days are, we did one yesterday and everyone was pretty cream crackered, but we all decided to go bowling. So, and I got a few strikes, and the other team won. I think someone won a round of drinks, actually. But we do things like that, or cinemas in our spare time. And just keep yourself sane, keep yourself fit, plenty of fluids, usual advice.
Sure, and how are you finding Manchester?
Manchester is rocking. It's amazing. This is the 3rd time I've been here to the Opera House, and the show seems to be zippier and zanier than ever. And they just love it in Manchester. They absolutely love it. I've done quite a bit of work in Manchester. I did film the interiors of Tucker's Luck way back in the 80s in Oxford's Road. Is it Oxford Road Studios, BBC?
Yeah.
So it's quite an amazing, friendly, laugh out loud people, just really friendly.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. It's all closed down.
Has the BBC been closed down now?
Yeah, it's all moved over to Media City.
Of course it has.
Yeah, it's all in Media City now. But the Royal Exchange is, the dance house is still there.
Oh, okay.
Opposite that, because we've been doing a few bits and pieces. Last time they was doing Phantom. We were on that with the Jumps. It's been doing all right and everything, but you know, when you do the tours and everything, you have to fit in different towns, don't you? Like, you've obviously done Manchester, and I know you've done Wimbledon. So I used to live in Wimbledon, so I know the theatre very well. How do you adjust to actually doing the different names and actually putting them little skits in?
Well, that's usually down to King Arthur. In this case, it's the excellent Joe Pasquale, who is absolutely terrific in the role, I have to say it. He's brilliant and he's so generous, and I keep telling him to do more acting. He says, I'm not an actor, Todd. I said, what do you think you're doing every night on stage? You're an actor. So he's great and very generous to me, as Patsy, and as Todd. He's a lovely guy. But you'll see what's going on locally, like up in Manchester, when we bring the present up on stage, he will compare them to, I think he said, Lowry and then Mick Hucknall. And that always gets the joke, Mick Hucknall. So in Wimbledon, who would it be? It might be a tennis player, or it might be a dodgy politician or something, you know, something like that. So, and that's what, you know, they cast a lot of comedians in the role of King Arthur because they know exactly what's going to get a laugh and what's topical.
Question, I've noticed the posters outside. Why isn't it this cast? And because it's not this cast that's displayed outside in the posters, and it kind of like threw me because I was like, oh, Bonnie's going to be Lady of the Lake, and it was like, huh? It kind of like confused me a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be a question to the management. I can't really answer that, but I take on board what you say.
And it was like, huh? This is weird. And I was like, yeah, Todd's on there, but there's no Joe and there's no Sarah. What's going on?
I don't know, can't answer it.
Oh, well, never mind on that. There's been quite a few changes to the show. There's been, like, as I say, nips and tucks with bits and pieces taken out, and, you know, like the whole sequence of the Holy Hand Grenade. And that, you know, and do they take them out and replace them, or is it just taken out?
No, the thing that I noticed to change it is when Lancelot comes out in the disco scene. They've got that colourful strips. What do they call them? Strips of what are they? Glitter strips. I'm sure they're not called that, but I think.
Well,
that was it. Glitter strips, and you know, I get involved with King. We go for a dance, so everyone goes for a dance. I think that's very clever, and visually that must look much better. But I think in its inauguration, when it started 5 years ago. It's got to be like a bottle of wine, I suppose, a fine wine. You've got to fine-tune it, and it's got to be on the road for a while, and you know, you play it and play it. I find it zippier and definitely pacier this time round, but I quite like the rawness of the original days as well. So I don't know, you know, exactly. So I don't know. It's up to the public at the end of the day, but I still get as much fun being paid to muck about for 2 hours every night as I did all those years ago. How
do you keep a straight face on some of the scenes? Because obviously with Sarah's Lady of the Lake. With Joe when they're doing their scat and everything like that, and you with Joe doing them all alone. How do you not just crack up laughing? Because I'll be there and I'll be absolutely peeing myself
particularly
laughing.
in All Alone, when everyone comes out and we're really right up to his face.
Yeah.
If you had a pair of binoculars, you'd see we're just about to break in. If you're standing behind the King, then you can get away with more, but I'm out front. And so is the Lady of the Lake, she's just to the left. So, one night, oh God, because a lot of, no, of course no funny business goes on. We're far too professional to muck about on stage. But no, that's one of the hardest ones for me, in All Alone, not to laugh.
Yeah, you've played Patsy with other famous people doing King Arthur and that. Do you find it easier to adjust to the different types of King Arthur and what they're going to do? Or
yeah, it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me on my toes. I mean, Joe is completely different to Marcus Brigstock, and to Matthew Kelly, and to Stephen Pacey, and to Phil Jupitus. They all bring their own, and I think that's why they're cast. That's why the director meets them and decides what he can bring to it. You know, Joe's a funny, warm, witty king. Marcus was a more like the guy from the film, which I think he based it on. Graham Chapman, exactly. He was excellent, and more snooty, and you know, more irreverent. And Phil was a bit like a geezer, you know. It was all completely different. And Stephen Pacey's a classically trained actor, so you know, he played much more like an actor, but still got the reactions his way. So it's, for me, it keeps me on my toes, and it's great to to work with different kings.
Cool. What does Patsy actually have in that backpack?
He's got everything. He's got the whole world in his backpack. It's quite symbolic, really, isn't it?
It is.
To lift my heavy load, as the king says to Patsy. Everything. There's Marmite. There's some skates from my Dancing on Ice days. There.
I didn't watch it, sorry.
Well, there you go. Some of your listeners might do.
Yeah.
And Weetabix and washing powder, ropes, everything. Everything that he feels might be handy on a quest to find a Holy Grail.
That is so cool, now. Going right back to your stage, I spied a little thing that was in on the radio that I would like to touch on if you don't mind, and that's Les Mis.
Mm.
What did you do in Les Mis?
Me?
Yeah.
Les Mis. It was a play.
Yeah.
It was a radio play. Yeah. I played. I think one of the peasants type thing. I think I was about 10 years old, 11 years old, and then as now, it's quite nice and prestigious, shall we say, to do radio plays. So I played a peasant, a young peasant boy. I think I might even played 3 parts. I don't know. I can't remember. I know I was about 10, and I know it was in Broadcasting House in London, and it was great to do.
I didn't even know it was a play, to be honest, because we've seen, well, I'm supposed to be seeing a musical and covering it, but of course I can't with Little One in that because it's my due date and everything, so I've got someone else covering it. But it's one of the shows that I'd really like to see, but I've seen it on, I've seen the movie with Liam Neeson, and we've seen the 25th anniversary with Alfie Boe.
Oh yeah.
And that, which is brilliant, but I didn't realise it was a radio play as well.
Yeah, well, I think it's in its inauguration. I think that's where it started. But like lots of things, I mean, Oliver was obviously written by Charles Dickens, and there was a black and white film, and then Lionel Bart wrote a musical. So I don't know the history of it. I don't know Les Mis at all. But yeah, it was just a straight play.
So up to now, you've done radio, you've done TV, you've done theatre. What way do you sway more towards?
Well, I think if I could do Spamalot every night for the rest of my life, it would keep me happy and sane. But we can't, because I'll be leaving it soon in March, and it will continue its tour around the rest of the country. I may pop back. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But if I had a time machine, I would go back to 1977, 78 and play Tucker as a 13 or 14-year-old boy. And in the evening, the time machine would come right back to 2015, and I put on my heavy load, my backpack with my coconuts, and clomp away into the dark of the night.
Let's see if we can catch you up on this. If you could, say, pick your ideal cast for Spamalot, who would you put in the 3 leading roles?
Well, I think we should keep it as we are right now, because we have a wonderful Sarah Earnshaw as a Lady of the Lake, and a wonderful king in Joe Pasquale. Wonderful Bonnie Langford, who I worked with for 2 years. And I think they're all fantastic. And you'll put me on the spot, and you shouldn't. And I will slap your wrist.
Me personally, we were having this discussion, and it was a case of who would we put, and we just come up with the same. We would have Catherine Zeta-Jones as Lady of the Lake. We would put Lee Evans in as the King, and to make it totally major league, out of this world, bizarre, Vinnie Jones as Patsy.
God almighty.
Can you imagine that?
He'd be one big fella, because Lee Evans isn't the tallest man in the world, isn't he? So,
but he is funny, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very funny.
He's
very
brilliant.
funny.
He's retired now, bless him.
Who?
Lee Evans.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's retired. The last show in Manchester was the last one.
Did you ever see a show?
Trying to get tickets like that is like
Gold
gold dust.
Is it really?
Yeah, they sell out with like that. Trying to get my lad in to see it, and it was like, no, because he's so popular and he's so good at what he does and everything like that, you know. Obviously the Knights of the Round Table, and the actors who play the Knights do play many other roles as well. How in the world do they do so many costume changes in such a little time?
See, I know it's a quick change back. How talented they are, you know, on stage, acting, singing and dancing. It's quite a talent to actually get in and out of a costume. Yeah, I mean, they've got seconds sometimes. I mean, there's dressers backstage as well, of course, to help out. But generally, they just have to be on the ball. I mean, I've done some quick changes in pantomime and things like that, but not as training as they've got to do. I don't know how they make it, but they do.
It's amazing. I was like, oh my god, I was reading, I was thinking, wow, you do about 3 or 4. And there's such little time sometimes in between, it's like, whoa. And that. So the costumes themselves, are they like light material? Or?
Yeah, well, actually, some of them aren't all that light, because they're actually proper material. It's not like thin stuff, it's properly embroidered and high quality material, actually. But they'll all be fixed with zippers or hooks or Velcro or all that kind of thing that you don't see.
Oh no. Mind you, I do make dresses for drag queens, so it's
you?
like, yes, I do weird and wonderful stuff and that, but yeah, drag. Divas Lament.
Divas Lament, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yes, superb.
Absolutely wonderful, Sarah. How does she go on stage night after night without cracking up? Her attitude is amazing.
It's really, I mean, I think that the great thing about the Lady of the Lakers, you know, I'm backstage or I'm here in my dressing room listening to it, and particularly the 2 songs, the song that goes like this, which is the first one, which she sings with Galahad, that really gets the audience going and warms them up like warm toast or hotcakes, you know, and then it just sails from there. But the Divas Lament, I mean, it's fantastic that they go bonkers for it. They're really in touch, taking the mick out of a diva, like a diva would be in the West End, and mick out of all agents. I'll call my agent, damn it. That's my favourite line.
Yeah.
And it brings the house down. It brings the house down. It's a standing ovation type song. You know.
So do you have any of the Pythons coming in and just having a quick peek at how you lot are doing?
We met Eric Idle but in 2010. He came to one of the rehearsals, and he gave a chat to us, and so did John Dupre, and we recorded an album as well, which was my first time I ever recorded an album.
Wow.
You know, so I can hear my dulcet tones on Bright Side of Life and All Alone, and some of the company numbers. So yeah, he was there. It was nice to see him. You know, legend. You know, he's the only one I've met. I saw Michael Palin at the BAFTAs once, about 30 yards away. He was talking to someone. I might have said hello to Michael. He might have said hello back. I can't remember. But it was nice to meet Palin, definitely.
So, if any of the Pythons were to do another musical, what one do you reckon would go really well?
Another musical?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, based on one of their other movies.
Oh, I see. Oh, God, yeah. Well, it'd have to be The Life of Brian, wouldn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. Well, you've already got part of it already.
Yeah, exactly.
Look on the Bright Side of Life,
exactly.
You know? And that, which I think is quite a good little touch, because it kind of like, you know, brings it back in with them,
Yeah,
doesn't
it does. I think The Life of Brian.
You know? Yeah, that would be
Get me
interesting.
part in that. What could I play in that? Don't know. I'll have to write. I feel a letter coming on.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to have to do a little bit of research and have a look at it again and go, oh, there you go, that's a part of it, Todd.
Please, yeah.
You know, that would be pretty cool. That will, and everything. So, right, so how long has Spamalot got on tour then?
I think it goes on till about July. As I said, I'm planning to leave in March.
Who's taking your place?
I don't know yet. I mean, I think that the official line is that watch this space and see who's going to be cast in the role. I think they have to do that, which is fair enough, I understand. And, you know, whoever does, I wish them best of luck.
Pearls of wisdom for them?
It's very simple, really. Enjoy.
Cool. Well, I think this has been pretty cool.
Thank you very much.
It hasn't that, and obviously we need to let you go because you have another grueling, fun instalment.
We do, and I'm going to go and get some tucker now, and fill my face.
Right, wonderful.
Thanks, my love.
Give me a hug.
Good night,
Bye, Daddy.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks
It's
for
been
taking
an
the time.
absolute pleasure here as well. And they say third time lucky, and it is third time lucky.
Well, it is third time lucky for you, yeah.
It has
Third
been
time for
nice, so
me.
yeah.
Is that yours? Don't forget that.
Yeah. It is. Here's the cover to this and everything and that.
Okay.
Thank you, my darling. Awesome.